Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for today's video because I'm going to be giving you all of my thoughts on the products that I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale haul, but I have only done one speed reviews on my channel this year, and that kind of like makes me sad. And I feel like recently I've been much more like excited to like test out and review products again. So I have a ton of other products that I purchased throughout this year that you can get at Sephora that I just never came back to give you my final thoughts on, because I was like, you know what? Why don't we just like get this done all in one video? So I have everything that I picked up during the Sephora VIB sale, plus there was a haul at like end of August, beginning of September time, a bunch of products from Sephora that I picked up. I have so much sitting out in front of me on my desk right now, and I'm so excited to review it all for you. I feel like this is the first time in a long time that I've purchased products and like just got right to testing them out. I feel like sometimes I'll like buy new things and then they sit for months before I get to testing them, and I just feel like re-inspired and just like in love with makeup again, which just makes my heart so happy. That was so lame. Anyway, I have a range of body care, fragrance, hair care, and makeup to share with you guys today. So if you're interested in my thoughts and reviews on all of these products that you can pick up at Sephora, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into this video. Okay, you guys, I feel like this is going to be a long one. So, I feel like maybe I need to go make myself a coffee. I might go do that. Hold one moment. Okay, I have my coffee now. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna start with all things non-makeup and we will end with makeup products. We can start with this product right here. This is the Verb Ghost Dry Oil, and I definitely did not need this. I picked this up while I was in store in Sephora, and I feel like I've been really into, I just hate the way my hair is looking right now. I want like a little extra volume. I don't know if I like that any better. Anyway, I've been really into Verb products lately. I just feel like they smell so nice. I really like their conditioner, and so this says it smooths and has frizz control. I feel like my frizz has gotten worse with age, so I was like, that was my excuse for buying this. I will say I do feel like this does help with frizz, but mostly I just like spray this in my hair to like make my hair smell better. It smells so good. Would I buy this again? I don't feel like this is like absolutely necessary to my hair care routine. I don't really have like a hair care, like a very strict hair care routine. So I don't really know that I could say I would purchase this again, but I do really like this for the scent. I also own the Verb like volumizer, and it kind of has a similar scent and actually like adds volume, so I'd probably continue to purchase that. I don't know that I would purchase this again. If you struggle with bad frizz, this might be a great option for you. I often just like have my hair in a ponytail, so I'm not necessarily always looking for frizz control, but I do feel like it does help with frizz. So that's really my thought on that. Okay, moving on to, I have 3 lotions to share. This just makes my heart happy. This is probably one of my favorite purchases of the year. This is the Fenty Body Butter Drop in the cinnamon scent. This was not even on my radar. I don't even think I knew that this existed, but then I was watching other content creators Sephora hauls, and Leah Janae was talking about this, and she had mentioned that someone said that this smelled like the Texas Roadhouse cinnamon butter, and she was like, it's like an exact dupe. And I was like, sold. Like, I want to smell like a Texas Roadhouse roll, and it literally smells exactly like the Texas Roadhouse cinnamon butter. It's so delicious, so good. It smells like that without being like too heavy of a scent. Like, it is just absolute perfection, and I absolutely love this product. This makes me excited to put lotion on at night. I usually put this on in the evening time right before I go to bed, so I smell just like a cinnamon roll as I'm going to bed. I will absolutely continue to repurchase this. I love this so much. This was absolutely worth it. And if you also want to smell like a Texas Roadhouse roll, I would highly recommend picking that up. I don't care how expensive it is. In my opinion, it is worth it. Earlier this year during the, I think, previous Sephora VIB sale, or maybe like right after, we all know how much I talk about Lauren May on this channel. I love her beauty channel, and I have especially fallen in love with her fragrance channel as I have gotten more and more into fragrance this year. And she always talks about the Way body scrub in the St. Bart scent. And I'll be honest, I have so many Tree Hut scrubs that I could not justify spending $38 on the Way scrub, just because I feel like I go through scrubs so quickly. I probably overuse them, but I couldn't justify that. So instead I got the body cream in the St. Bart scent, and I absolutely love this too. I went through about half of it this spring, summer. I did try and use it like semi-sparingly, but I did kind of go back and forth between this and the Boom Boom cream. And this I love because it just truly smells like a tropical vacation. It's a little bit lighter than the Boom Boom cream. So if I was wanting something a little bit lighter, I would go in with this. I love this during the day. I love this at night. It is such a beautiful scent. Definitely something that I will reach for more in spring, summer. It's not really like a fall winter sort of scent to me, but I've been really happy with this as well. And I will say, maybe I've been trying to use things a little bit more sparingly, but I use this quite a bit and only went through about half of the jar. So I feel like it's pretty good value for what it is. And then also, speaking of Lauren May, she did a video dedicated to like spa-like scents, and she talked about the Tatcha Forest Awakening Hinoki body milk. So I picked this up, and I do like this, but I don't know that I would purchase this again. I feel like it is a body milk, so it's not like super nourishing, ultra rich, and so I should have like thought of that going into it, but I just feel like it doesn't necessarily add the exact amount of hydration that I'm wanting. Like I guess maybe in the morning time, but I feel like when I want a spa-like scent, it's usually like I'm setting the evening up for myself, but it really does have that like forest eucalyptus spa-like scent to it. It's not one that I find like hangs around too long though. Like it's not something that like I'll put it on in the morning and then I smell it hours later. So I think this costs $48. I mean, the aesthetic of the packaging, it's a glass jar. You get like this bamboo lid. The aesthetic is really, really beautiful, but I don't necessarily know that I would purchase this again for $48. Like I feel like instead I would just use like a eucalyptus scented bubble bath, and like that would give me the spa like experience that I'm looking for. So was it worth the purchase? I'm glad that I tried it. I'm not like mad that I purchased it, but I don't see myself purchasing it again. I don't say I won't, but I don't see myself purchasing that one again. Okay, speaking of eucalyptus and sort of like body care, during this Sephora sale, I purchased the Necessaire deodorant gel in the scent eucalyptus. You guys, we might be onto something here. I mentioned to you that I have not yet found like a toxin-free deodorant that works for me. I've tried the Native. What else have I tried? I feel like I tried the Kopari one. There's been a couple others that I feel like I've tried, and I have made the effort to make it through like the purging phase. But I feel like I never get to that point where I don't not smell terrible a few hours after putting that deodorant on. Like literally, I feel like I sweat more and smell worse than if I didn't wear deodorant at all when I've used like Native and the Kopari one. So I've been kind of like on the hunt, but I've also just been using my Dove deodorant, and I'm like, you know what? If it has aluminum, if it's toxicating me, like at least I don't smell so bad. So I purchased this, and I really like this. I have been using this consistently the last few weeks, and I will say I feel like later, like there comes a point in the day where I feel like I need to reapply, not because I smell like so bad, but I feel like I can just tell like it's time to reapply. But I went back to my Dove deodorant for a few days, and after going back to my Dove deodorant, there reached a point in the day where I was like, oh my goodness, I literally smell so bad. Like so bad. People around me are going to be like, so I think we're onto something here. My one concern with this is, by the way, I love the glass bottle. I love the aesthetic of the packaging of this. Because this is like a roller ball with like a liquid, like I feel like we're gonna reach a point where it's like, okay, because we're like doing this, like, are we gonna be able to get all the product out? Because like it needs to be tilted up, like directly upside down for the product to roll on. And like, do you guys get what I'm saying with that? That's my one concern, but I've been really happy with this. This is a very liquidy formula, so it kind of like, you don't have to like hold your arms up for it to dry, but just know it has that like brief moment of needing a dry down. But I've been happy with that. I've been really happy with that. One skincare product I just wanted to talk about. I actually didn't buy this myself. My mom gave this to me, but I wanted to shout this out. It's from Pharmacy. You can pick it up at Sephora. This is such a great product. Again, packaging aesthetically pleasing, but beyond that, I've talked to you guys about this rash on my arm, this stupid rash, and I would go home to my mom's and I would be sitting at the table literally like itching, and she had purchased this for herself, and she was like, oh, here, like just put some hydrating lotion on that so you can at least stop itching for a moment. And then every time I would come home, I'd be like, can I please put a little of this on? She's like, yeah, no problem. And then finally she was like, why don't you just take that for yourself? So this has worked wonders on my little rash. Yes, I still itch from time to time, but if I'm feeling itchy, I put this on and it does alleviate some of the feelings of needing to itch my rash. But beyond that, this is such an ultra hydrating, rich product. It is perfect for my dry skin in the evening times. I use it mostly for my dry skin on the face at night. I feel like I've gotten to a good place where I've got my rash mostly under control. But if you were looking for just an ultra rich, hydrating, feels super nice, perfect for sensitive skin sort of moisturizer for the evening time through like the winter time, highly recommend this one from Pharmacy. If I didn't say, it's the Honey Halo Ultra Hydrating Ceramide Moisturizer. Okay, moving on to the fragrances that I picked up during the sale. I picked up 3. We can start with this big boy right here. This is the Woodphoria Boy, so it's the Boy Smells Woodphoria scent, and I had a little travel size of this. I loved the way that it smelled. If you guys don't know, Replica by the Fire, is it by the Fireside or Fireplace? I can never remember. I think it's Fireside. That is my favorite scent of all time, and this kind of gave me similar vibes in that this had a very woodsy sort of scent. I actually have this on mixed with the Replica by the Fireside scent on today. Yes, this just has a very outdoorsy, woodsy sort of scent. The Replica by the Fireside is definitely a little bit sweeter than this one, but this is giving like something a little bit aromatic, but still has that very woodsy sort of vibe to it. So I really loved it, and I purchased a full size, and I will say I still do really enjoy this. My complaint with this product is the wear time. I just feel like I spray this on and a few hours later I like can't smell it anymore. But I will also say, to that point, I wore this to work the other day, and I feel like it was like 4 or 5 hours after I sprayed this on, I had gotten a compliment from someone that I work with. She was like, oh my gosh, you smell so good. So it's like, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just going like, is it nosmatic? Maybe I just am like, you know, getting to the point where I can't smell it, but people around me can. I absolutely love what I can smell though. I will say I still love By the Fireside a little bit more, just a little bit more. It has like a little bit more of that sweetness, and I like the cinnamon added in with that. But these two mixed together are also really beautiful because you get the sweetness from By the Fireside, and then you get this like woodsy smokiness from this. You also get the smokiness from By the Fireside. So I am happy with this. I just feel like I need to either spray a lot on or I need to reapply. I also hate, like I hate this. I think this is not the cutest bottle in my opinion. It's very heavy, which I appreciate, but like I feel like we could have done something different with the packaging. I would say that's probably my favorite of the fragrances that I purchased during the sale though. The other 2 fragrances I purchased these really cute bottles of the Kayali, 2 of the Kayali Oudgasm scents. So I picked up Cafe Oud as well as Tobacco Oud. And what's so interesting about these 2 is when I first spray on the Cafe Oud, I do not like the scent of this at all. I feel like it comes off really rose heavy when you first spray this. And I'm like, ooh, that's not for me at all. But on the dry down of this, I absolutely love this, and I wore this to work. I've been trying to wear them all to work to kind of see what sort of vibe we get, see if anyone says anything. I wore this to work and I got so many compliments on this fragrance, which is also interesting because this is another one. I feel like after like 2 or 3 hours, I can't smell this at all anymore. I don't feel like this has a good like longevity in terms of scent throw, which is interesting because I feel like Kayali usually is really heavy and like you can smell it days later. Like I'll like put things in the laundry and like I'm going to do the laundry and I smell my Kayali fragrances on my clothes. I don't necessarily get that with this. I also feel like I've used this quite a bit and I was kind of worried I would go through these little mini bottles pretty quickly, but I really haven't. Did get some compliments on this. I do feel like you can smell a little bit of the cafe notes in this, or coffee notes in this. Cappuccino, I believe, is the specific note, but I don't feel like it's like so, like I don't feel like it's like so strong that it feels like you're literally sitting in a coffee shop, which could be a good or a bad thing. So on first sniff of this, I don't love it, but on the dry down, I do. I personally feel like this doesn't have a good longevity, but then I was getting compliments like 6-7 hours into my wear of this. So, and then we have the Tobacco Oud, and I've gone through a journey with this one. This one I love upon like first sniff, but on the deep dry down of this, I don't love this, and I don't know if it's the tobacco note on this or something different, but it's just not my favorite. This is something that lasts all day. It's super strong, it's super heavy. And I wore this and I didn't get compliments on it, I don't think, if I'm remembering correctly. Or maybe it was, maybe one person said they really liked how I smelled, and then I was like, huh, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought. I will say I have worn this one the most because I've been questioning my thoughts on this one the most. This is definitely not something I would purchase in a full size. I think I've grown to like this more than I did in the beginning, but there's something almost like sour about the deep dry down on this that just, I don't know if I like or dislike. I think you're either gonna love this or you're gonna hate it. So if you can get your nose on this before, like, I would not blind buy this one personally. I'm still like undecided on my like, do I like, I know I won't repurchase that, but I thought I was like, oh, I absolutely can't do that one. And then like the last couple of times that I've worn it, I'm like, maybe I can get through this bottle, which is something I found with a lot of Kayali fragrances. I don't know if it just takes my nose a little bit of time to like warm up to it, but that's how I feel about that. Moving on to the rest, we have makeup. We have so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, we've been filming for 16 minutes and I have so much left to talk to you guys about. Okay, let's start with maybe my 3 face palettes, because I purchased all of these during the Sephora VIB sale, this most recent one. So I have the Hourglass holiday palette, the ambient lighting edit unlocked. I got the Snake palette, which I know is like the deepest, but this color story just seemed the most interesting to me. And I will say I've used every single shade except for this shade right here, which I think I'm going to get most use out of in the summer. It's this really beautiful bronzy copper blush, and I think it will look really beautiful in the winter, or not the winter, the spring summer, but it's just not the type of shade that I'm reaching for in the fall winter. And then this shade right here is a really beautiful highlight, but it is definitely too deep for like my face. I think I'll get use out of that potentially as a body highlight. Everything else I think is really beautiful. I have this on as my highlight today, and then I have this on actually as my bronzer. I wanted to give it another go. I probably am a little bit too pale for this as a bronzer. Oh my gosh, I just noticed I have this spot on my nose that kind of looked like a freckle, but I think that was actually from, I like sprayed the roots of my hair, and I'm wondering if that's what it's from. Anyway, these are really beautiful blushes as well. I think that overall this palette is probably best suited to me in the spring summer because I purchased something that's a little bit deeper, so it'll match me better when I have more of a tan going on. But I still think that this is beautiful. I looked at the other holiday palettes in this line and I thought that they looked boring, but then I just love the Hourglass formula. They have a beautiful baked formula. Their products just look so good on skin. Like I feel like as I've aged, I'm like, I really vibe with Hourglass products. So if there's one that's kind of speaking to you, if there's a color story that's speaking to you, I do think it is worth it if you think you're going to use all of the shades. I will say it's a little bit difficult to get my bronzer brush into the bronzer, but everything else I have no problem with. But I will say, like, you want to know you're going to use all of the shades before purchasing. But I've been liking it, and I think I will like it even more in the spring summer. We all know I love my NARS face palette. I mean, I literally can't stop talking about NARS face palettes. This is their newest one. It's the All That Glitters. I know that every NARS face palette basically looks the same, but I love the NARS formula. It's this really beautiful baked formula. Again, just looks so beautiful on the skin. It does not look like powder. It just like, it looks like one with your skin. I love this pink shade right here. It's a really beautiful, like, icy blush topper, but I also like to mix it with this shade right here, just for like this warmer, like pinky, still kind of icy sort of shade on the cheeks. I love it. I do really want to try this shade as a bronzer, but I'm kind of scared to, like, I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't love a gold highlight, but I think this is still really beautiful. This is a really beautiful coppery, corally sort of blush shade. And then I actually really love the red shade for a sunburnt look in the summer. I have something very similar to this in other NARS palettes that I've used. So if you don't have a NARS face palette, what are you doing with your life? Like, you gotta grab one. You gotta grab one. And then the last face palette, I ended up purchasing the Patrick Ta for the face. So this is a face and eye palette, and I've actually gotten a ton of use out of this. So I do have just the powder blush on my cheeks right now, this very icy pink. This, I feel like, can end up, even on my pale skin, looking a little too icy pink. Like, it almost gives off that like metallic pink sort of vibe, and I'm like, but it also can be really pretty. I will say these are probably the powderiest blushes I've ever dealt with. Like, they are so powdery. Even like the lightest tap, you get a ton of kick up. So if that's something that bothers you, I do not think you're gonna, it's so much powder kick up in these blushes that I was like, really? I do really enjoy the cream blushes on top of the powders. I think they are so beautiful. I thought this was going to be way too deep for me, but I like to go in with my brush and then I'll tap out the majority of the product onto my hand before going on my cheeks, and I really like it. Like, I feel like these two pink blushes are very unique to my collection, or four, I should say, really unique to my collection. So I do feel like it does add value in that way. And then we have the 4 lid toppers. I do really enjoy the lid toppers as well. I have been absolutely loving this shade right here as an icy inner corner highlight. It has like a hint of blue to it, and I think it's so beautiful. I've been reaching for it quite a bit. I also think this champagne shade is so beautiful for an everyday, just like lid topper shade, like one shade or one shadow and you're done. This shade right here is almost identical to one of the shades in the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2 palette. But if you don't have that palette, it's really beautiful. It's kind of like this pink to gold duochrome sort of shade. And then I do really like this icy pink lid topper as well. So I was kind of uncertain of whether or not I was going to enjoy this. I feel like a lot of Patrick Ta holiday palettes have not gotten the best reviews, so I was a little bit hesitant. This is the first time I purchased his holiday palette, but I am happy. But I think you should really consider, like, if you think, oh my gosh, could I open this? If you think you're actually going to use blush shades like this, and if you're someone who likes lid toppers. So you need to make that decision for yourself, but I've been really happy with this. Okay, I only have one palette to talk about. It's the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 5. We know I love this. I've been using this so much. I love these shades for inner corner highlights, and I actually do have the shade, so I have a matte shade from the Huda Beauty Naughty Nude in my crease today, and then I have Unbreakable, Inspiring, and Protected on the lid, and I really love the way that this look turned out. I think sometimes an all shimmer palette can be a bit intimidating, but as I say so often on my channel, if you're looking for something complementary to your palette collection, like you want to dabble with special shades, I think this is such a unique addition to your collection because there's so many different finishes, textures, special shades. There's so much with this palette. I know it is an incredibly pricey palette, but in my opinion, you're getting 18 shades. I don't feel like you're going to get this sort of value even ordering like indie shadows like as singles. I highly recommend this palette. I'm still playing around with it, but I've been so happy with it. I really love this shade Radiant, this like orange shade as an inner corner highlight. I did that yesterday with a more neutral look. I thought it was so pretty. I love the shade Resilient in the inner corner. I've used Protected on the inner corner quite a few times. Again, it's on my inner corner and like the very front of my lid today. and still playing around with this, but loving it so much. I can't recommend this palette enough. Moving on, I have 4 foundations to talk to you guys about. The 2 that I picked up during the most recent sale, I picked up the Sephora Perfection Mist Airbrush Foundation. I actually have this on today because I've worn it 3 other times. The first time I wore this, it was so bad, you guys. It was so bad. It didn't apply well. It was literally, I went to my mom's that day and like my makeup was like peeling off my face in the most disgusting manner. I was like, I'm not even gonna try it again. It's going immediately into ranking in the worst makeup I've ever tried, and then I'm getting rid of it. But then I was like, well, maybe it's because I didn't prep my skin right. Maybe I didn't use the right primer. Maybe it's the powder I'm using. So I decided to give it another try. And I've used it, today was the 4th day I've used it. I don't think it's gonna be a favorite. I don't think, I have pretty dry skin and I don't think it complements my dry skin well. I have to prep my skin really well for this to look good. And I also just like don't love the application of this. I've tried literally spraying my face. I've tried spraying my beauty blender, and then I've also tried spraying my hand, dipping my beauty blender into that, and then like pouncing it out. I just like, I think I can use this. It's definitely not the worst foundation I've ever tried, but also this was on sale for $8 before even the sale, so I think they might be phasing this out. I just think it kind of like makes my skin look a bit aged, like a little bit older than it needs to be. But the first time I tried it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Okay, then I also picked up the Guerlain Healthy Glow foundation. I love this. I think this is so beautiful. One of the best foundations I've tried in a long time. My preferred finish for a foundation is something that looks skin-like while still offering like a healthy glow and not looking too makeup-y, not feeling heavy. And that is exactly what I'm getting from this. I was a little bit worried with it being a Guerlain product that it was going to be way too scented as well, but I do not get that from this. It just lays so beautifully on the skin. It doesn't age my skin at all. It feels so lightweight. It doesn't even feel like I'm wearing makeup, and I am just so happy with this. I feel like so many of you guys were encouraging me to purchase this, and you guys did not lead me in the wrong direction. This is such a beautiful product. I'm so happy with this. As of right now, this would be a definite repurchase. This is definitely going to be like a special occasion foundation as well. Like, I know I can trust this to just look so beautiful for so many hours. I am so happy with this purchase. It was a very pricey foundation, but worth it in my opinion. Okay, and then I have 2 other foundations to talk about. I purchased both of these earlier this year, but I wanted to just give my quick review, quick thoughts on them. So the Dior Forever Skin Glow, I believe this is reformulated since the last time I owned this. I actually really like this. I feel like I've heard mixed things on the reformulation. I just love the Dior foundations in general. I've always had good luck with them. I think this is beautiful because it's glowy without being dewy. Like, it's not like, wow, she looks sweaty, or wow, she looks like she just worked a shift at McDonald's and like was like doing the French fry thing. It's so beautiful and it lasts so long. It has such a good longevity for being like a glowier foundation. More medium, could build to full coverage, but again, just doesn't feel heavy on the skin. I'm so happy with this one as well. Love me my Dior foundations. And then I also picked up for the first time, I don't know if I've ever tried a Lancome foundation, but I've heard so many good things about the Tenti Dole foundation. So I wanted to try the Tenti Dole Ultra Wear Care and Glow. Because again, I like something that's going to give me a skin-like glow. I do not like something that's going to be matte, flat, just does not work for my dry skin. I was a little bit hesitant about this because I feel like I hear so much about Lancome foundations just being so full coverage, and I'm definitely someone who likes more of like a light to medium sort of coverage. And while I do think this is probably my most full coverage foundation in my collection, it has such good wear time. It offers a really beautiful, healthy skin-like glow to the skin. It does not look flat. It lasts literally all day, probably my longest lasting foundation in my collection. But it doesn't feel heavy, and it doesn't make me look too cakey or too just like made up, if that makes sense. So I've also been so happy with this, which I feel like as I've gotten to like the age of 32, I'm just hesitant about foundations because I just feel like I'm getting a lot more picky, and I feel like foundations that like I used to be able to get away with, I'm like, oh, this just like does not look good on my skin now. But I've been so happy with these 3 foundations. Again, all high end, but I am definitely willing to spend money on my foundations if I like the way that they look. So those 3 I all would definitely purchase again, and I think are 100% worth purchasing, or worth the purchase for me. Concealer. Purchased 2 concealers during this Sephora VIB sale. Really happy with both. My only gripe is my Natasha Denona is definitely too light. I kind of want to exchange, like I really do kind of want to, but I'm also like so lazy. Like it's like, do I really want to? I have mine in the shade RN1. I'm so bad at matching my concealers. What I will say about the Natasha Denona is it is very full coverage, and you literally need one dab. Even today I did like 1 dab here, and then like I like to clean my eyeshadow up with concealer, and I went like this, and I was like, that was probably a little bit too much. So just be very cognizant of how much of this you are applying, because I feel like this could end up getting really creasy or really cakey just because you apply too much product. And even like 1 dot does not feel like any product, but it blends out and it's so full coverage, but it doesn't feel heavy and it doesn't feel dry underneath my eyes. That's my biggest concern. I don't have a lot of like darkness underneath my eyes, but I feel like things can look cakey and dry, and I don't get that. I think everything creases at some point, but this isn't like uber creasy, so I've been really impressed with that one. Even more so, I love this one from Tower 28. I have mine in the shade DTLA, which I probably could have gone maybe 1 shade lighter in this one, but I think this is so, so, so beautiful. This is definitely going to take over my Kosas Revealer Concealer, and like this is going to be my go-to. This just offers the most beautiful hydrated finish underneath the eyes. I don't think this is going to be the most high coverage concealer. I would say it's more like medium. You maybe could let it sit underneath your eyes to get a little bit more coverage, but this finish is so beautiful. It gives me that healthy like skin-like glow without being too glowy. I'm thinking of like the Say concealer. That was too glowy, sunk into literally every fine line. This is true perfection. I think this is my favorite concealer I've tried ever. So this is a definite win in my books. I have 3 powders to talk about, and actually none of them were powders that I hauled during the sale, but earlier this year I purchased the Givenchy Prism Libre powder as well as the Lawless powder, and I finally got around to testing both. This powder from Givenchy, I have mine in the shade Violet Rosé. It is the most smoothing powder I have ever used. It is my go-to underneath my eyes. Like I never want to use anything else. That's very dramatic, and I probably will continue to try other things under my eyes, but like I don't think I'm gonna find anything better than this. This is worth the hype that it gets. I just got the mini. I feel like the mini is going to last me forever, so I think this is absolutely worth the purchase. If you're considering, just get the mini. Just get the mini, but it is the most smoothing powder I've ever used underneath the eyes. I haven't really used it much all over my face. I prefer a pressed powder all over the face. It does not look too heavy underneath the eyes, in my opinion. Like I think it is such a good under eye setting powder. I'm so happy with that. Some powders can look so heavy underneath the eyes. That, perfection. Okay, then I also picked up the Lawless Perfecting Powder. I like this. I think it does an amazing job at setting the face. It's just a little bit heavier than I'm used to. The last couple of powders, the last couple of pressed powders I've used have been baked powders, so they just feel a little bit lighter on the skin. I do still like this, but I think when I finish this, I would purchase the Kosas Air Cloud powder again. I just like something a little bit lighter on the skin. If you are someone that wants to do like mostly concealer, no foundation, but you want like a powder, this is a good option for that. I'm not like mad about this purchase. I think it was worth it to try it, and I will definitely use this. I just think I prefer a baked pressed powder. I also think that the CoverGirl pressed powder is a little bit lighter and offers a little bit more of a glow. This is a little bit heavier and a little bit more full coverage. It's not heavy in a way that it looks like so much makeup, but it's just not what I've been used to. Okay, and then you guys don't even know that I purchased this yet, but before the Sephora VIB sale ended, I've been thinking about this powder so much, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and finally I was like, if it's in store, I'm gonna buy it, and if it's not, I'm not gonna get it. and it was in store, and it's the Huda Beauty Easy Bake and Snatch Powder. I got this because I'd heard people say it was more of like a satin finish that offered a bit of a glow to the skin, which is what I'm looking for. I've mostly used this as an under eye setting powder because I believe that's what it's supposed to be used for. I have it underneath the eyes today, and I do think it does a good job of brightening. I have mine in the shade Cupcake, but I do think this one can get a little bit heavy underneath the eyes throughout the day. I definitely prefer this one for setting underneath my eyes. I've used this all over the face, and it's also just like, I'd rather use like the Hourglass powder if I'm wanting a glow. So eventually I'll work my way through this, but for me, I feel like I would have been okay without this. I'm not like mad, like it wasn't a complete waste of money, but I would have definitely been okay without this. Okay, I'm gonna apply a little bit more lipstick, you guys, because I've literally been talking so long. I feel like my lip gloss is worn off. I have one spray to talk about. I didn't pick it up during this sale. I picked it up actually during the last Sephora VIB sale. And when I did my speed reviews on that sale, I forgot to talk about this. It's the Cali Ray Sunproof Setting Spray. It says clean, hydrating, and long wear. This smells like wet dog, and I don't know that this makes a huge difference in, like, I feel like I would rather purchase either the Benefit one or the Urban Decay. Like, this just, it truly smells like wet dog. And I don't feel like I feel like it has such a fine mist, which is kind of nice. Oh my gosh, I'm literally smelling wet dog. But I don't feel like this like makes my makeup last like any longer. I'm not impressed with this. So that's my thought on that. Okay, I have a couple of bronzers here, both picked up during, no, one not picked up during, yes, both picked up during this Sephora VIB sale. I have the Give Beauty Bronzing Duo, Bronzer Contour Duo. I am so happy with this, and it makes me want to try more from the Give Beauty line. I have mine in the shade Toastin', which I believe is the second lightest shade. I will say I think this is quite warm, the bronzer specifically. It's also a very powdery bronzer. It's very powdery, so I have to like tap my brush off. But when I'm looking for a warm bronze look, I love this. Might be one of my new favorite summer bronzers. I think it's so pretty. It blends out really well. It's very buttery. I don't get any sort of like patchiness, and I just think it blends really beautifully. And then you have your contour, which for me is like more of a neutral toned contour rather than being so gray toned, and that is definitely what I prefer. And I've been really happy with the contour as well. I think this is a really beautiful product. Only $28 before the sale, so I actually feel like it's not priced like an exorbitant amount. So I've been super happy with this. And then I also picked up the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. I have mine in the shade Light Medium, and I finally get the hype. And I wish I didn't wait so long to purchase this, because I think about all the days in the summer where I just went in with like concealer and brows, and I wanted to add like a little bit of definition to my face. And this is such a perfect product for that. If you're going full glam, full beat, you're doing a full face of makeup, this is not necessarily a product that I would be reaching for. But if I'm doing like a tinted moisturizer, just want like a little bit of a glow to the skin, this truly is kind of like a skin enhancer that it's gonna add a little bit of a bronzed glow, and it's so beautiful, and it blends so seamlessly and smoothly. And it's even one of those products that I feel like if I get it kind of like all over, like if I blend it even like a little bit lower than I would prefer, it still just looks so flawless and so beautiful. I'm so happy with this purchase. Okay, for blush, yes, blush, I picked up the Say Trio. I'm so happy with this. You guys know how much I love these Say blushes. I actually already owned the shade Chili in a full size, so I just kind of like, I'm giving Chili in the mini size to my sister. I love the shade Baby. I think it's such a beautiful shade, especially for like cold girl makeup. Perfect for this kind of year. Perfect for this time of year. It's such a beautiful baby pink shade with like a little bit of iciness, a little bit of lavender to it, and I think it's so pretty. The shade Rosy, I thought was going to be more of like a neutral, like peachy sort of shade, but it's more of like a neutral rosy. Like I feel like Rosy is the perfect name for it, but this is also really beautiful. And then I love Chili as well. I love the Say dewy blushes because I love a bit of a glow to the cheeks, and they're glowy without being too glowy. My preferred application is to put a little bit on my hand and then go in with a stippling brush just to kind of diffuse it a little bit, make it a little bit less saturated, because these can be quite pigmented, but I think the formula is absolutely beautiful, and I highly, highly, highly recommend the formula. Highlights, nope, we're still on cheeks. I got the Lawless blush in Indian Summer in one of the Sephora holiday sets that I picked up, and I just wanted to remind you guys, I love the Lawless blush formula. I have a different shade, and Indian Summer is a really beautiful rosy mauve shade for this time of year, and in the past, I often mix the Lawless blush that I have with a Nabla blush. I love the mixture of the both, but I've been using this one just on its own, and it does, like, even the just on its own, this blush, it's more of like a satin velvety matte finish, in that it's not just like this flat color on your cheeks, and I think it's so pretty. So just wanted to remind you guys of that. Okay, on to highlights. I don't know if this is a blush or a highlight, so we'll talk about this now. It's the Glow Sculpt from Say. Ooh, I don't know if I got the right shade for me. It's too deep as a highlight, and I don't feel like it works as a blush, so I don't know how I feel about the Glow Sculpt. I have mine in the shade Pink Glow. I also have a little bit of hard pan in this, like hard pan for a cream product, that is. Like, if, I don't think you'll be able to see, but I can see little like bumpies. It looks so beautiful swatched, but I used this as a highlight, and it, maybe it was because I was really pale. It was just too light as a highlight, but it does look like my perfect sort of icy pink highlight, which I love. Then I tried it on the cheeks, and I was like, ooh, this is too icy for the cheeks. So I'm undecided on this. As of right now, I'm like, ooh, I probably could have done without this in my collection. I really want to make it work as a highlight, because I love a pink highlight, but it hasn't worked as a highlight for me yet. So for me right now, this I could have done without. Okay, you guys were so right about the Rare Beauty highlighter. I have mine in the shade Mesmerize. Speaking of a pink highlight, this is so beautiful on the cheeks. I was a little bit worried that this was going to be a little bit too intense, because there it is swatched right there, and it looks so intense, but with a fluffier brush and just like really diffused on the cheeks, because it is this really beautiful baked formula, it really just looks like glossy skin, like a glossy cheek, and that is like pure perfection in my mind. I've also started to do my makeup differently, where I do my highlight before I put my blush on, just to like trying to get things to like mesh a little bit better and not look like so many strips of everything. And I just think I could not stop reaching for this. It is so beautiful. I'm so happy with the formula. You guys weren't wrong about this. And then I did pick up this highlight earlier this year, but just got around to testing this, also from Give Beauty. This is the highlight, the Check My Glow. Yeah, Check My Glow highlighter. I have mine in the shade Platinum Cowgirl. This is definitely more subtle than the Rare Beauty one, but also just so beautiful. Using this made me want to try more from Give Beauty, and it's why I went out and purchased the bronzer. I love the packaging. We talked about how I love checkered things, and I'll show you guys. Now I have checkered like sock shoe things on. Not my Vans, but checkered. Yeah, I love checkered everything. So I love the packaging. I also just love how like nostalgic and retro this makes me feel. I'm thinking back to the Neutrogena products, and I definitely had some of those. But this also just looks almost like second glowy skin on your cheeks. It's so beautiful. I'm definitely super happy with this purchase as well. And again, just makes me want to try more from Give Beauty. Okay, the last few products. I had this eyebrow set from Benefit. Really happy with this. I've tried the brow setter before. I really like this because I feel like it has such a unique brush to it, and then it's like really flat but has a really nice comb to it. And I feel like it does a really nice job of setting the brows. Really happy with the Precisely My Brow. I feel like this has that precise tip that I'm looking for. And really happy with this. And then you have the Give Me Brow, which is just a tinted brow gel, and I've been really happy with this. So overall, I feel like that was a good purchase. I want to say it was $28 for those 3 products, and they have a range of different like shades. So I feel like that was worth it. I feel like that was a good value. Okay, I purchased this a bit ago. It's from KVD. It's the Dazzle Stick, and I've finally gotten around to testing this. It's a really beautiful shade. I have mine in the shade Hail Surge. There it is swatched right there. It's this really beautiful champagne shade that kind of has like almost like blue and pink sparkle running throughout. It's really easy to apply to the lids, but I will say it's just this, I'm not the target audience for this. I shouldn't have purchased this, but I keep doing this. I just don't, I'm not a cream shadow sort of girl. Like, it's just not what I reach for. So I have to force myself to reach for this. If you like cream shadows and you like something sparkly on the lid, I think you'd really enjoy this. I'm glad I only bought one. I was definitely thinking about buying two. I think if I was doing like a one shadow and done, like I feel like if I use this consistently, I could really get into it. I'm not the target audience. I shouldn't have purchased that. All right, mascara, the Tower 28 mascara. This did me so dirty. I had heard people talk about like it flaking and smudging, and I kind of just like put my blinders onto that. But it really does flake and smudge so bad, you guys. I left work one day and it was like, I looked so ridiculous. So ridiculous. This is so beautiful at first. Like, it really does a nice job of like curling and lifting the lash while giving you some length. Not the most volume, but like a really beautiful lash, especially if you're not doing a super heavy eye look and you just want something a little lighter. It's so beautiful, but 2-3 hours in, this is starting to flake. This is starting to smudge. And I'm not going to purchase it again. I'm glad I purchased the small size. Ilia is still my #1 mascara. I just can't do a flaky, smudgy. And then, okay, you guys, my camera battery is gonna die. I'd like to get through this before that. Summer Fridays lip balm, really nice, highly recommend. I have this one in vanilla beige. I will say the first couple of times I put this on, it almost like stung my lips, and I think it's because my lips were so dry. But for just like a basic nice lip gloss, like lip butter gloss that actually makes you have glossy lips, but also feels so nourishing to the lips, this is really nice. I'm definitely interested in picking up more shades. I mean, I don't need another balm, but if you're a lip balm girly, I think it is definitely worth checking out. I know these are more expensive at $24, but I feel like you're getting like a good amount of product in that. I purchased the Lawless Forget the Filler in the shade Cherry Vanilla. It's on my lips. Favorite gloss of all time, I believe, at this point in time. I want every shade. Can't stop talking about it. It's the best if you want juicy lips without the pain of a lip plumping gloss. And then speaking of pain from a lip plumping gloss, I just have to shout out this one from Patrick Ta. I got this in one of the holiday like favorite sets. Maybe it wasn't holiday, maybe it was a favorite set before then. But the Patrick Ta lip plumping glosses do not feel pleasant on the lips. And I am not someone who like cares enough about like super plump lips to want to go through the pain of a lip plumping gloss. So I will be getting rid of this. I wasn't a fan. But if you like a painful lip plumping gloss, I would recommend that. I did also pick up the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb in Hologram. This is really beautiful for like an icy yet golden champagne sort of gloss. I actually really like this. I love the Fenty Gloss Bombs. They're one of my favorite formulas. They do offer a really beautiful shine to the lips. And overall, I'm happy with this purchase. And then I wanted to just quickly shout out the NARS Afterglow. I picked this up earlier this year. I have the shade Breathless. This is like a beautiful gloss stick in that it's nice and comfortable on the lips. This is like my perfect, like I want to wear like a color on the lips, but I don't want a lipstick, and I still want my lips to be like glossy. This is perfect for that. The shade Breathless is this really beautiful nude shade. I do think these are a little bit pricey for what they are, but these kind of remind me of like the L'Oreal Paradise lipsticks, but these are like almost a little bit thicker and a little bit glossier. I could see myself purchasing this again, or possibly purchasing this in another shade. It is expensive, but it's like the perfect hybrid of a lipstick and a gloss. I think it's so beautiful. So I just wanted to shout that out as well. Are we gonna make it before my camera battery dies? That is it. We've been filming for like almost 50 minutes. We'll see where this lands once I edit it all, but thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch. Would love to know your favorite product that you've purchased from Sephora recently, and maybe your least favorite. Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, thank you so much for sticking around to watch and for supporting me and my channel, as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.